Imagine this. You're driving home after a long day and you have the radio on and you hear a story about a small village in India where a mysterious virus has strangely killed 4 people. The story comes to your attention a few days later when you hear about this mystery virus again, but this time it's not just 4 people who have died, it's 30,000 all throughout the mountains of India. A few days later, the president of France makes an announcement that shocks the rest of the world. He is closing off France's borders. No one can come in or out. Panic starts to set in throughout the whole world, and Britain closes its borders next, but it's too late. The virus is already there. A few days later, the President of the United States makes an announcement. He's closing the borders. No flights in or out of America. But it's still too late. The virus made its way to the United States. Within days, America is in an utter state of panic. Everybody is wondering how this virus can be stopped. The virus continues to sweep throughout the world. Then one day, news comes out. The code's been broken and they found a cure. But they need the blood of someone who hasn't been infected with the virus. You bring your spouse and your child to the hospital and have your blood taken, and then wait for any news. After hours of waiting, a doctor comes out in complete joy and says, "We found the cure, we found the blood that matches." And so everyone is crying and just hugging each other, and it's just a scene of joy. And they call out the name, and you're not really paying any attention, but they keep calling this name, and your child tugs on your shirt, and he says, "Daddy, they're calling my name." The doctor comes up to you and he says, "We didn't expect the patient to be a minor, so we need you to sign this form." So you're like, all right, you take the form and you begin to sign it, and you realize that where it has the box that says how many pints of blood you need, it's left empty. So you ask the doctor, how many pints of blood is needed? And he looks away, and you say, how many pints of blood are needed? And he says, "Well, we didn't expect it to be a child, and we're going to need all of it." So you get a few moments left with your son to comfort him before he gives his life to save the rest of the world. And they take his blood, and a few weeks later, you're at the funeral for him. It's attended by a lot of people, but most of them there don't care. They're bored, or they're indifferent, or they pretend to be excited, but really they just wonder, when is this going to be over? And this is the boy who saved every person on this planet. This is the story of God and Jesus, the story we celebrate this Holy Week. We celebrate his death and resurrection every single Sunday at Mass, and yet how many of us show up bored or uninterested or pretend to be excited, but really we could care less? Jesus died for us. He gave his blood so that we could live, and yet we don't even care. I challenge you to rethink the story of Jesus and his death and resurrection. What does it mean to you personally? Why does it matter that Jesus died for us? What difference does it make in your life? We have life because Jesus died for us. God would rather die than live without us. And that's what we're celebrating this Easter. We'll meet you this Sunday in the Eucharist. And above all, know how truly and deeply God loves you.
Eli! Eli! Lama sabachthani!